Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, where today I'm playing with the Sea Talk palette. This is one of Udenzai's newest releases. Udenzai is my favorite brand. I love everything they do. I said in a previous video they would have to work really hard to disappoint me, and today's look is no exception. I'm going to be telling you guys about a concert in which I was recently involved. So much fun. It was a competition where I got to perform with a symphony orchestra, and I want to tell you all about the whole week, the whole experience, the results of the competition. Good times to be had for all. Stick around. Alright guys, today we're playing with the Sea Talk palette from Lauren Mae Beauty and Udenzai. I think that this is my favorite palette out of the trio, but I've only played with each of them once, so I'm going to give them each plenty of time to shine and then work with them together. But this is today's palette. And then if you don't know, I'm doing a new project called Palette Pull In, which is where I have randomly selected a palette from my collection and I make myself use consecutive shades from that palette. Just, challenge myself a little bit. It's like a mini palette bingo. I can card above the video for you where I describe what that whole process is, but this is my palette pull-in. So today I have to use shade number 3, which is called Mesmerize, and it is a bronzy sort of shimmer. So I did take that color into consideration when I decided what to do today. Let's zoom in and get started. Everything that I'm using is linked in the description box below. I have already primed my eyes using the Glamlight Icing Primer. Now I'm taking a medium blending brush, going into the shade Dolphin Tail. I want to tell you guys about my concert. If you don't know, I was part of a concert. I'm going to put Dolphin Tail in my crease in my outer corner. It was a vocal competition, and it started off with video auditions, and then we had callbacks, and then the finalists were notified. And after that, we were waiting a few months until the spring concert. Now, the purpose of this, well, not the purpose is to make music, right? But the finalists would be involved in the spring concert for our local symphony orchestra. As far as I was concerned, that was the prize. Like, just becoming a finalist and having that opportunity was amazing, whether or not I won. And our spring performance was at the beginning of April. It was the full orchestra, but then there were all of the finalists, and there were also a couple of visiting artists who are Broadway singers, and it was just so incredible to work with that caliber of artists. Between the symphony orchestra, the conductor, and then the Broadway singers, they both have experience on and off Broadway. They have decades of experience in production and acting and performance. It was an amazing opportunity to simply be able to perform with those people, and then also to bring in the other finalists. Everyone had such good voices. Everyone was just a great person to hang out with. People were super friendly and nice. There was no competitive feeling as finalists were all hanging out. Everything we said to each other was kind and encouraging, really supportive of one another. Everyone was sweet and thoughtful, really, and the personalities were great. It was such an amazing experience. Nobody was hyper competitive, nobody was backbiting, nobody was vying for themselves. We were all there to support each other and to make music together. It was an encouraging and very positive experience. This is kind of a gray-based brown. I like it. It's not a boring neutral. I think it's kind of cool and different. I think it's a very nice brown, and the undertones in particular to go with the rest of the shades in the palette with these more blue tones. It's pretty. I'm just working it into my crease, and then I'm gently buffing it outwards a bit into smaller and smaller concentric circles and the V shape. With a smaller blending brush now, I'm going into the dark blue matte. It's called Night Swim. I'm going to use this just to deepen the outer corner. I will include a quick video for you guys showing you the first look that I did with this palette. Honestly, I might have started the same way. I don't remember exactly. I can see from the pans that I did dip into other colors, obviously, and I'm not trying to recreate that look right now. I'm doing something different, but this is just how we're beginning. So this concert, honestly, it was one of the most memorable weeks of my life. The whole experience was great, but the week of the concert was amazing. I can card above a video for you where I talk about the week of rehearsals. We had a week of rehearsals starting on Tuesday and going through Friday, and then the concert was on Saturday night. Each of the finalists had personal coaching by the Broadway singers through our songs. Nothing, they weren't choosing favorites, they were just giving us little tips to help us do a better job, because like I said, everyone was there supporting everyone else. And so the guys who were coaching us, they just wanted us to do our best and present as well as we could. So here's the layout. The concert had 2 halves, as most concerts do. The orchestra would open each half with a medley. They had a Chicago medley and they had an Elvis medley. And then in the first half, we finalists performed our solos. And then at the end of the first half, we had an ensemble piece together. The second half was again opened by the orchestra, and then each of the two Broadway singers sang 2 songs, so that was 4 songs. Then they announced the winner, which wasn't me, but that's completely okay because it was an amazing experience. And then after the winner was announced, we had another ensemble piece. Now, you may recall, if you watched any of my previous videos on this topic, there were actually 2 potential winners. There was the grand prize winner whom the judges chose, and then there was an audience favorite because the audience had ballots in the programs and they submitted during the intermission who they wanted to win. So you could theoretically have had 2 winners. This was actually the first year in the history of the competition where the audience favorite was the same as the judges' favorites. She was she was blown away. And I was so happy for her. That's what I'm saying. Everybody was so encouraging, and we were just there, excited for the opportunity and the chance to do this. And it didn't really matter who won. It was just an amazing experience. Guys, Editing Rachel here. I totally forgot to mention this in the video, but I wanted to say that I'm actually really happy with my performance. I didn't win the competition, but it doesn't really matter because for me, the reward was the opportunity. I think that the woman who won deserved it because she did have slightly better stage presence, and that's something I'll tuck into my back pocket and learn from. But overall, I'm extremely pleased with how well I performed my solo. I was on point vocally. I remembered all my words, the phrasing, the musicality. I engaged with the audience. I'm really, really happy with how well I did my song. I left, at the end of the night, I felt that everything was a triumph. I didn't look back and think, oh, I should have done that better, or I messed up here, or I said the wrong words. No, it was great. It was an amazing opportunity. I'm bringing this dark blue matte onto the lower lash line, just in the outer corner. You can see that this look is not super exciting right now. It is very pretty, but it's not very exciting. And the shadows have performed really well. Everything is blended together and built nicely. But now it's time to drag a bit of drama onto the lower lash line and then build this up with some shimmers. I want to play in the Mermaid Scale shade, so I've got a flat brush. I'm going to dip into the pan. I don't think I've used this one yet. And I'm going to spray my brush after it's loaded. If you spray your brush before dipping into the pan, you can kind of create a hard pan on your shadow, and that's obviously not ideal. I'm taking Mermaid Scale and I'm putting it, starting at my inner corner, and I'm working it up all into the crease and on the lid space. And then what I'm going to do is grab that bronzy shade from my palette pull-in and, I don't know, somehow connect that to my blue mattes. Anyway, so my mom was actually in town when my concert took place, so she was able to come. She had come in from out of state just to help with the new baby and whatnot, because the concert happened 5 weeks after the baby was born. So I'm so glad she was able to come to my concert, and my husband and all 3 of our daughters were there. And the children behaved, oh, look at that blue shade, oh my goodness. The children behaved really well. In fact, I got so many comments from random people and also people I knew who came to the concert. So many people told me, was your husband the one with all those little kids? He did a great job. Of course he did. Of course he did. He's great. This is beautiful. Look at this sky blue shimmer. Oh, that's so pretty, but it's going to get way more interesting with my palette pull-in. Again, this is the palette Through My Eyes from I Love Sarahi and ColourPop. I'm dipping into the shade Mesmerize, which is the 3rd shade, and it's the 3rd time I'm using this palette for this project, and I will spray my brush after it's loaded. I'm going to take this and put it between the blue shimmer and the blue matte. May need to bring in something else, but I'm just laying this down to warm up the look and make it a bit extra, a little more interesting. I'm not able to share with you guys official pictures because I'm not allowed to share them without tagging the creator. I don't know. I also want to protect my privacy. I don't need the entire internet to know where I live and my business. So that's why I've been sharing this journey with you through my videos, but not giving you specifics. I'm not going to share official photographs, and we're not allowed to take video. Because of musicians' unions and licensing and whatnot, no video was allowed to be taken during the concert. So I can't share with you parts of the actual performances, but I can show you pictures. So all of the pictures that I'm showing in this video today are actually photos that were taken by friends of mine. None of these are the official photos. You can tell because they're kind of grainy. They're not like professional quality. Okay, so the Mermaid Scale shimmer from the Oden palette it looks like, when I'm looking close in my mirror, it seems to have tiny little bronzy flecks in it. Now, I can't really see those in the pan itself, so they may have simply transferred over from the palette pull-in shade, but super pretty. What do I want to do? I kind of want to bring in a bit of brown between the brown shimmer and the blue matte. So I'm going to take that smaller blending brush and take the shade Driftwood, just a little bit. This is a darker brown matte in the palette, and I'm touching Driftwood onto the brown shimmer from through my eyes into the blue matte. Just touching it, kind of kissing the edge, and then I'll go back into the blue matte, and I'll do the same thing on that edge. I just want to blend the colors and also the formulas together. But this is looking very pretty. And I really want to play in this shade called Sea Spray. It's sort of a purple blue shimmer, but more like the purple's more a lavender. So I'm dipping into the pan, and because it's a shimmer, I'm going to spray this as well. I'm curious to see how this looks. I'm going to put it on my lower lash line. I feel like this is going to be a much lighter shimmer than the other darker blue-purple shimmer. I keep saying shimmer. I'm saying it too much. I also need a different brush, I think. I'm going to grab a smaller blending brush, quite small, and I'll dip into Sea Spray and spray it. Let's try this brush. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, this is sort of a almost periwinkle shimmer. It's not an even mix of blue and purple, but it has periwinkle tones. It's very pretty. So yeah, that was the concert. It was an amazing experience. It was so incredible to have the opportunity to express myself musically, to share my love for music, to work with other people who love music just as much as I do, people who have literally made it their career, to work with the finalists. Some were a little younger, some were a little older, some of them are, moving to New York to pursue music full-time, others are stay-at-home moms like me, or teachers, and it was a very beautiful experience. I had an amazing time. I just loved every step of the process. It was a very full week. We didn't have much time to learn our music. I mean, we literally learned our ensemble pieces that week, and that included the songs, the tunes, the lyrics, and all the harmonies that everybody was like, okay, you sing this, you sing this. We had to learn all of that in basically 2 days, and then put our sheet music down and work on our stage presence and our presentation. It was a lot. It was a pretty intense week overall. I'm going to clean off this brush and take the Iridescent Shell shade. I'm dipping into the pan and then I'll spray it. By the end of the week, the Broadway singers were like, guys, you need to know this. Like, this is a competition and you want to do well, and we want you to do well, and everyone's rooting for you to give your best effort. You need to know your music. So they were very nice, extremely friendly, very encouraging, and just super fun to hang out with, great personalities, but they were also no nonsense, get down to business, you gotta know your stuff. And that was a good challenge for us because it pushed us further. Okay, here is how the eye look is going to end up. I'm going to go off camera and finish it out. I'll tell you what I put my waterline, etc. I'll be right back. Alright guys, to finish up, I put white in my waterline. I have some mascara on. I did not do any kind of winged eyeliner. I have some products on my face. This is the Tarte Blush Palette, and this is Frosé highlighter from Beige Cosmetics. And on my lips, I'm wearing a lippy stick from ColourPop in the shade I Heart This, and then their lip oil topped it off in the shade Hey. Everything I'm wearing, again, is linked down below in the description box. Here's the final look. I think it's really, really lovely. Let me tell you some thoughts on this palette. I've gotten pretty good use out of it, and I know Uden's Eye formula very well. I think that this palette is beautiful, honestly. The brown and neutral shades are a little bit more, like, this row is cool toned and then this row is more warm toned. For me, I find that I look better in more cool toned neutrals. For example, I think that the neutral tones in the ColourPop Star Wars palette are very flattering on my skin tone, and those are much more cool, almost purple when I use them. So I find that to be true with this row as well. These are more warm toned, but they work quite nicely with these, obviously. This shade totally could have, like, you could do this entire look with only this palette, because this shade is basically the same as the one that I used to my palette pull-in. So it's a beautiful brown shimmer. This one right here, like I said, it's on my under eye. It's kind of a periwinkle, but it's almost a little more blue leaning. Electric Kelp is a lot of fun. Honestly, the whole thing's beautiful. I love Uden's Eye. Their formula is fantastic. And this shade right here is a different texture than the rest of the shimmers. This one is a little bit more chunky. Uden's Eye seems to have 2 shimmer formulas at this point. You've got more smooth and soft and creamy, and then you have slightly more chunky. It's beautiful. I really enjoy this palette. Like I said, I've used all 3 of them once each, and now this one twice, and I think so far this one's my favorite. Also, I did want to comment on the artwork. Uden's Eye artwork It's fantastic. Everyone knows this. If you just see all the details, and on each of the palettes, the girl's eyes have a little speck of metallic, and it just catches your eyes in a beautiful way. This one I think is cool because you can actually see Lauren's arms underneath the surface of the water. They're kind of resting on the bed of the ocean, and I thought that was quite cool. There are lots of details, little circles like bubbles or turtles and fish and kelp and seaweed, and then on the back everything carries through, again, turtles and fish and these little swooping motions like the currents of the water. It's beautifully done. I really like this palette. I can absolutely recommend it 100%. I believe these are still available, so these are also going to be linked down below. I'll just link the page for the collection itself, and you can see from there what's available. You might only be able to buy a bundle. I'm not sure what those details are. Check the description box. Thank you so much for being with me today. I hope you enjoyed the eyeshadow look. I had a great time telling you about my concert. It was an amazing experience. Ooh, and I found out that people who didn't win, even if they were finalists, are eligible to audition again. So that's on my calendar, totally auditioning again next year. Hopefully I get to be a finalist again and I get to redo the experience. It was amazing. What a wonderful time. Anyway, thanks so much for being with me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like and subscribe before you leave so that you don't miss new content, and I'll see you guys again really soon in my next video. Bye!